Welcome to Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here, still smiling after a big Game 2 win last night. The Dodgers took control of the National League Divisional Series. 2 games the Dodgers won in the best home field advantage of all of Major League Baseball. How about that, as Mel Allen used to say? How about that right there? Yep. The Dodgers are up 2-0 in the NLDS, and I am super excited about it. Casey Porter here. It's a great day to be a Dodgers. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show for you today. I cannot wait to get back into talking about Game 2, some of the things that the Dodgers have done, some of the things that they have overcome. It's going to be a little bit more big picture, obviously, than our post game from last night. I want this to be directed by you. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed. Make sure, and like I said, leave a like. And then not just in the chat here, go to the regular comment section and leave a comment, please. So what we're going to do today is we are going to rehash some of the obstacles the Dodgers are having to overcome, some of the leadership aspects that this organization has put forth that has led the Dodgers to get into the position that they are in, and then also some of the things moving forward that, the Dodgers will have to face. The Milwaukee Brewers are very good as well. Then we're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk to you in the chat, and then the big part of today's show, what I'm going to do is I got a wonderful video from Jay. Jay is one of our wonderful moderators here in the chat, and Jay sent me a aerial view of the wheel play from last night. And I'm going to take you through and show you all the different ways that play could have been ran, the way the Dodgers ran it, the way that the Phillies really kind of screwed it up, but in my opinion, the way the Dodgers forced them to screw it up, and just the fundamentals of which all that went. Some of the philosophies in terms of, hey, why were the Phillies actually trying to bunt in that situation? Why were the Dodgers, why did they run the wheel play to begin with? And I know Dave said it's the only chance they had to win. But again, that was the tying run on base. So that's not quite exactly accurate, because even if that run scores there, it's just a tie game. So anyways, we're going to go over all that. We have a tremendous amount to talk about today before we get into that wheel play. But let me back up. Let me, first of all, I want this to be led by you, because, hey, I poured my heart and soul last night. I hope you guys know, and gals, you wonderful Dodgers dogs out there, whenever I disagree with the decision, or, hey, I stand by it. I stand by everything I said last night. It's why sometimes in post games you're a little bit more emotional, and you kind of, you the next day sometimes you're like, well, dang, what all did I say? That kind of deal. Okay, but hey, everything I said last night, I stand by. I love everybody in this organization. I love every part of this leadership. I would not change anybody or anything about this leadership. That's just a post-game show, and that's the fun part of it, is that you sit around and you discuss your opinions, and that's why people say all the time, it goes to this: I could sit around and talk baseball all day. Well, sitting around and talking baseball isn't saying, hey, yeah, you're right. No, yeah, I think you're right. Hey, yeah. What sitting around and talking about baseball is, I give my opinion, you give yours, we discuss it together, and we have a hell of a good time. That's exactly why we like these chat forums inside of these live shows. So, hey, I stand by everything I said last night, including all of the comments that I made about how just incredible the leadership is in this organization, and also including how incredible I think Dave Roberts is as a manager. So I wanted to get that out of the way. First, second reaction to the game last night, to the show last night, any comments that were made, and just kind of wanted to let everybody know that how much I love everybody in this organization, everybody in charge, but also how I greatly stand by everything that I put on social media and or that was stated on last night's show. I think it was very accurate, and I think it was done in a way that was provided by factual data to back it up. And I don't think anybody was getting thrown under the bus. I think that's just baseball talk, right? So, hey, we got that business out of the way. So let me dive into some of the chat before I get into some of my talking points today, and we get on with some of the things that we're going to talk about. So good morning to you, Leon. Craig Osterberg, thank you so much for joining. Chuck Huddleston, thank you so much for joining as well. Shelly Lawrence, good morning to yourself. That was a great win last night. Good morning, O'Donnell boy. lifted. Mookie and Shohei combined for 2 hits, and we are 2-0. I'll take it, yeah, because that's going to lead me into just the greatness of this front office. You know, at the trade deadline, probably the part of this organization that got improved the most was the farm system, okay? So the Dodgers somehow traded Hunter Fiducia, and they got back a catcher, as much as I love Fetty, that has probably been more valuable than what Fetty could have been for this organization, just simply because the strengths of what Ben Rortvedt does, calling a game, he can throw down to second, all those types of handling pitchers. Fetty is a really chill, just really laid back dude. So I'm not saying that Ben Rortvedt's better than Hunter Fiducia, but I am saying what his strengths are probably fit what the Dodgers needed once Will Smith went down more than Hunter Fiducia could have done, and that would be a guy that's able to work with the staff, a guy that's able to just kind of fit in and figure out, hey, what is my role here, and do a great job. And I believe the ERA when he is catching is somewhere around 2.5 now. So again, I'm not comparing Hunter Fiducia to Ben Rortvedt, but what I am saying is what Ben Rortvedt has given the Dodgers has been every bit as good, probably better than what Hunter Fiducia could have done. So you felt like at the trade deadline, you were kind of getting Paul Gervais. That was what you were supposed to be getting as the prize piece. And instead what you got, and all you gave up was Hunter Fiducia, right? And instead you got a catcher back that could do as much or more than Hunter Fiducia could have done, and you got Paul Gervais. So I say that to say that the Dodgers double whammied. They positioned their Major League club and gave the Major League club a piece that has been desperately needed, that has produced greatly and greatly helped with this run. Then also improved the farm system greatly. You also added Zach Earhart. You added James Tibbs III. You added, oh my gosh, I'm having an absolute brain cramp. The big lefty that started at Great Lakes, I'm having an absolute brain cramp right now. Somebody actually. That's going to drive me nuts. Tulsa Drillers are out. Let me look this up because that is a brain cramp that is just Adam Serwanowski. I'm sorry. That is just absolutely a terrible brain cramp on my part. And so you added him, and he was just absolutely incredible down the stretch. And so really what you did with the trade deadline is you made your farm system better than you did your Major League club, but you did provide a piece for your Major League club that has been instrumental. Okay, so that's number one. The front office in the offseason, they re-signed Blake Trinan. Hasn't worked. I get it. They signed Tanner Scott. We all love that. I get it. It hasn't worked. But still, you have to give the front office credit for going and getting the best leveraged arm that you possibly could. You re-signed Teo. That's been huge. You re-signed Clayton Kershaw. That's been huge. Okay, you signed Blake Snell. That's been huge. Okay, so this front office hit a grand slam at the trade deadline, in the offseason. And then at the trade deadline, you know what they did? They bunted a guy over, they stole third base, and hit a sacrifice fly. And yes, is that a sexy grand slam, that we like to watch? No, but it scored a run, right? That's what they did with Ben Rortvedt. They got a guy on, they bunted him over, they stole third base and hit a sac fly. That's Ben Rortvedt, okay? That's what he has been for this organization. So the ability for this front office to put this roster together that not only is talented, but as Mark said last night, is incredibly deep. Let me remind you that despite the fact that Blake Trinan has not had a good year, despite the fact that Tanner Scott has not had a good year, despite the fact that this bullpen has been pretty much an unmitigated disaster since about July 4th. Okay, remember last year it was the starting pitching that struggled so bad, and the bullpen were the Dawgs. You've exactly reversed that. But because this front office went and got so much depth in the offseason with the starters, you've been able to circumvent that by using the depth in your system to cover any hole that you might have, okay? So give the front office a tremendous amount of credit for building not only a great roster, but the depth, because here's the deal. You can spend all the money that you want on a roster, but as 162 games go, you have no idea who's going to get hurt. You have no idea who's going to have a bad year. You have no idea any of the variables that happen over 6 months. And so there's no way to plan for that in the offseason other than to say, hey, we're going to cover every single base. So we have depth and insurance basically with every single situation that comes up. So let me explain this to you, okay? The Dodgers covered every situation that came up this year, okay? Tanner Scott not having a good year. Blake Trinan not having a good year. Brusdar Graterol getting hurt. Evan Phillips getting hurt. Alex Vesia not being great down the stretch. Anthony Bonda not being good at the beginning of the year. You know how they covered that? Ben Kasperius had a really good first half of the year. Jack Dreyer's been good all year long. Emmett Sheehan has been good since he got back. And Justin Robleski, after a couple of early, really bad starts, okay, has been good in that middle long relief. Then you added so much starting relief that really what the Dodgers front office knew, what Dave knew, just get into the playoffs to where we can use our starters in the bullpen, and that creates all that depth and that covers all your issues you have. So as Dodgers fans, this is one of those shows, as we went really in depth last night in terms of, the game that was played last night. It's important that the next day, in my opinion, we wake up the next day and we go, you know what? The Dodgers don't have any back into the bullpen other than Roki Sasaki at the moment. Alex Vesia has been good. He was good last night, good the night before, but he had been shaky coming in, right? Despite all that, here we sit with a 2-game lead, having won 2 games in Philadelphia. And so I say that to say you may find this monologue boring, okay? That's fine. But today is a day to back up a little bit. You don't have to play today. You don't have to think about what are we going to do today. I talk about the process all the time. Sometimes it's very, very, very important, even as fans, that we stop and we think about all the things that we have. I'm not going to say we're given, because when you buy a $25 Michelada at Dodger Stadium, you're not being given shit, okay? Whenever you pay $40 to park and whenever you pay a couple $100 for a ticket, you're not being given shit. We're paying for it as fans. When you turn on Sportsnet and you pay for your bill on Sportsnet, you're not being given shit. You're buying all this, okay? So I don't want to say that we are being given anything by the front office. But today's a great day, the perfect day. Even as a player, as a manager, and certainly as a fan, sometimes you have to sit back and appreciate what you have, enjoy what you have, savor the moment, and appreciate all of the great work, and recognize and appreciate all of the great work that has gone into us being able to sit here on a Tuesday afternoon and talking about having a 2-0 lead to the NLDS, and all the great work that has gone into that by the front office, by Dave Roberts, by the players, by everybody that is involved. So this is what I ask Dodgers fans to do right now. Take today to celebrate all the people that have put us in this position. When we wake up tomorrow morning, we get back into our hair on fire mode. We're ready to kick ass. We're ready to end this series and sweep the Phillies. But today is a day of just kind of celebration of all the wonderful people that have given us, that have provided us the situation that we're in, which is another chance to win the World Series, 1 game away from beating the Phillies, okay? So I wanted to get that out of the way. And then also to say, let's think about all of the – so here's what you tend to do as a fan. I'm at the top of the front of that line, is that we tend the thing, it seems like, especially as we get older, it becomes more frustrating to lose than it does become joyous to win. That happens a lot to coaches. And that's when you really know as a coach it's time to go, is when you stop really even being able to enjoy the wins, and the losses suck way worse than the wins are enjoyable, okay? So that's where I really try to make sure that I stay in proper perspective, is that I stop and enjoy the victories as much as I get pissed about the victories. That's what I'm doing right now. So let's think about this. Will Smith comes into the postseason, your all-star catcher, and your catchers for a while were Ben Rortvedt and Chucky Robinson when Dalton Rushing got hurt, okay? You were able to, down the stretch, hold off the Padres, you're able to keep the Diamondbacks out of the playoffs with Ben Rortvedt and Chucky Robinson, okay? Fantastic job. Now, you're able to just kind of, through plan and through discipline from Dave, you're able to work Will Smith back into the lineup, put a plan together for him to see exactly how much we can use him, how much he can take. And because of that, not only did you get Will Smith back in the lineup and he's still healthy, you also got a huge two-out RBI base hit, or two RBI base hit from Will Smith last night as well. You had Andy Pages, who struggled mightily in center field earlier in the year. Okay, you stuck with him. You had Mookie Betts, who through almost the entire season just was not producing at shortstop. I led the charge of bitching about that, okay? You stuck with that, okay? And then also you've had Max Muncy not be healthy for most of the year. How about starting Miguel Rojas at third base, right? And then how about this decision right here? Clayton Kershaw has not even pitched yet in the postseason. I'm going to say that again. Clayton Kershaw has not even pitched yet in the postseason. Okay? So this front office, Dave Roberts, everybody in charge, put winning and the entire organization ahead of the feelings of Clayton Kershaw. Now, I say that not very confidently because I would have to imagine in every scenario, Clayton Kershaw has been part of the decision-making process, and give Clayton Kershaw a tremendous amount of credit for not having an ego and for putting his personal well-being aside and for throwing that last game and throwing so well and going deep. So having said that, the Dodgers have not pitched Clayton Kershaw yet. Don't tell me that Clayton Kershaw has not in a big way influenced the playoffs, though, because you know what Clayton Kershaw did? He pitched the last game. He pitched as long as he could, and so did Robo. And by doing that, guess what that allowed the Dodgers to do? That allowed the Dodgers to set up their rotation exactly the way that they needed it to be in the playoffs. So in a roundabout way, no doubt about it, Clayton Kershaw has had a huge impact in these playoffs because he allowed the Dodgers to set the rotation up the way he wanted. And by the way, as a 3,000 strikeout member and a future Hall of Famer, hands down, nobody can even argue that. Think about the leadership that he is showing. Everybody in this organization that, hey, guess what comes first? Guess what comes first? It's winning, okay? Winning comes first for Clayton Kershaw. And guess what else? Whatever decision the front office makes, whatever decision Dave makes, everybody has to be on board. That's the message that Clayton Kershaw sent. And then Andrew Friedman doubled down with it whenever he very clearly said, hey, we put together a roster that is capable of winning the World Series. We did our job. Now it's your job on the field to get that done. And the Dodgers have been doing that. So I say all that to say I'm going to sit back and enjoy the day after the day off. This is my day just to not think about, okay, who's pitching tomorrow? Okay, any of the X's and O's about what needs to happen. This is my day to walk around and go, you know what? It's pretty damn fun to be a Dodgers fan. It's pretty damn cool to be up 2-0 against the Phillies and getting ready to make the NLCS again. It's pretty damn cool that we won the World Series last year. It's pretty damn cool that we've won 12 out of the last 13 NL West titles. It's pretty damn cool that we've won 40% of the last 5 World Series, and we're up 2-0 in the NLDS against maybe the best team in baseball, not named the Dodgers. All of that is pretty damn cool. And this is my day to stop and not let anything else get in the way of me being euphoric and enjoying that entire process. I encourage you to do the same thing as a Dodgers fan today. Sit back, take a moment, soak it in, let today, an off day, be the day that you appreciate and enjoy and savor everything that we have, not given, not our given. We by, like I said, by the money we put forth, it's not given. But what we have, enjoy it. Be appreciative of it, right? Today's the day to do that. So, wow, what a awesome crowd we have logged in. I hope I did not bore everybody with my monologue there. I had a lot of strong feelings. I gave all my X's and O's about last night's game. We're going to get into the wheel play. We're going to do all that. But today is just, I'm just so excited. And I don't have to get over it because, A, I'm not a manager or a player. One, but then two, the Dodgers don't play today, so I don't have to stop feeling excited today. Nobody can tell me to stop feeling excited today. And now I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll turn the page, but not today, man. I'm celebrating today. Carol S., you are absolutely correct. What a beautiful Tuesday. Chuck Huddleston, 2 great wins last night. One over the Phillies, the other over one of Doc's decisions. Yes, Chuck Huddleston, we got into that quite a bit last night. But if you're going, I'll say this, and I was the king of it, I think, Chuck, you'll totally agree with this. You also have to give Dave Roberts credit because until that point, he had been absolutely spot on. And probably if you went, I would have to go back into all the decisions. I think if you went back maybe a month or two, I think you would be very rare to find a situation to where Dave Roberts did not pull the right trigger, okay? So I would have to say, I think you'd probably agree with me, Chuck, that yes, last night is what it is. But to that point, Dave Roberts had been absolutely spot on. And so if Dave Roberts had not been absolutely spot on, yeah, maybe the Dodgers might be in the same situation, but you wouldn't have everything set up as well. So you might make the argument that, hey, yeah, well, if he made a different decision here or there, we still probably win the game. Fine, okay? But the way that the decisions have been made, not only have the Dodgers won games, they've won games while also setting up the perfect case scenarios moving forward. See, that's what managing is. Managing isn't just winning that game, of which the decision in the 9th inning last night did not give the Dodgers the best chance to win that game. Nobody's denying that. I stand by everything I said last night. But that decision notwithstanding, I think we all have to come to the agreement that Dave Roberts has managed both in the end of the regular season and so far in the playoffs to where that he's given until the 9th inning last night, it's been twofold for him. He has given the Dodgers the best chance to win that game at hand. And then also he's put at the same time the Dodgers in the best position to have the perfect path moving forward. Just think about right now. The Dodgers just went into Philadelphia and won 2 games, and they still have everybody available. Everybody. They could even throw Tyler Glasnow in relief if they wanted to end Game 3, I don't think that's going to happen. They have Roki Sasaki completely available. So the opposite end of not going with Roki Sasaki for the full inning, you definitely have him. So here's the deal. If you throw him last night, maybe you don't have Roki Sasaki available for both games in Los Angeles. By only throwing him a little bit last night, now you might have him available for both games. You got Clayton Kershaw. You got Emmett Sheehan will definitely be available at least for Game 4, right? I would think he'd be available for Game 3 in a pinch if you needed him to do so. Alex Vesia will be available. Anthony Bonda will be available. Jack Dreyer will be available. And you got Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Tyler Glasnow ready to go to start those games. You got Shohei Ohtani to start back in Philadelphia if you make it back that far. So Doc has managed in a way to where not only have the Dodgers won every game in the postseason, they've also done it in a way where they have set up the future games perfectly. So last night's decision withstanding, Doc has done an A+, 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 A+ job. Okay, yes, some of that was the fact that they did execute a wheel play and that, Freddie Freeman came through with a big dig and we won. Some of that was that. But the fact that you can't deny that the Dodgers have won every game and at the same time set up every game in the future perfectly. And that being the case, you can't give the decision making anything less than an A+, my opinion, because there's nothing else you can do better other than winning and setting the future up better. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Hey, you be cool like a bubbling crude. Go Dodgers. Chuck Huddleston. After my heart rate slowed down a bit, a movie and a few hours, I could enjoy the win and the reality of what it means. Hey, Lifted said it was necessary to bring in Blake. Doc had to give him one more shot. Won't expect to see him in leverage in the postseason. And here's my question with this, Lifted. Did the Blake Trinan thing also take out Tanner Scott? Like, okay, well, I went to my guy last night. It didn't work, so do I need to go to my guy, which is my left-handed guy, and Tanner Scott? Can Doc afford to do that and make both of those mistakes if Tanner Scott doesn't work out at that point? So I think maybe the Blake Trinan deal might have not just taken out Blake Trinan. It might have sideswiped Tanner Scott, too, just because of, we've been using this term presentation. The presentation of the optics, if you bring in Tanner Scott into a similar situation and the same thing happens to him, oh my God, right? So I think really in a weird way, that sideswiped not just Blake Trinan, but I think it sideswiped Tanner Scott as well. Jay said Philly postgame was adamant that Doc was trying to give them the game. Okay. Well, I mean, we've addressed the ninth inning issue. But I will say this, they wouldn't have said that through 8 innings, right? Lifted, we can't say enough about the front office. This roster is spectacular. The late inning substitutions have been great. Well, how about this? I mean, you don't even start Max Muncy at third base. You start Miguel Rojas. You bring Max Muncy in, he draws a walk. You don't start Will Smith. You bring him in, he comes up with a two RBI base hit, right? You haven't even pitched Clayton Kershaw yet. Okay, you're pitching starters in the bullpen. I mean, this has been a clinic on how to have great leadership and how great leadership puts plans together to accent your strengths and then cover up your weaknesses. It's been an absolute clinic. And I, for one, somebody who's been in the game my whole life and has been in the coaching industry for my entire adult life, I, for one, am standing back on today, Tuesday, just kind of like, wow. I mean, this has been pretty incredible. And I'm just going to sit back and appreciate everything that they have done and all the rightness that they have put in their decision-making so far. Oh, Donnie boy, what a sleeper Roy turned out to be. We lucked out, and kudos to him for bailing us out. Chuck Huddleston, I love the idea of starting the game with Ben, then pinch hitting after one at bat with Will. Very smart move by Doc. I would do that again tomorrow. Ben might catch 4 or 5 innings tomorrow doing that. Lifted says, hard to ignore how the whole year seemingly turned around when they acquired Ben. Yeah, Serbanowski. That was a terrible brain cramp on my part. But I'm getting old, and I've had a lot on my mind, and so there it is. Adam Serbanowski. Yes, thank you, Jay. Leon, bullpen should only be Glass now. Sheehan, Kershaw, Vesia, Bonda, Roki, the closer. Chuck Huddleston, it's amazing how each season during the playoffs, how an unknown player makes a huge impact. You got to love baseball for that. And that's just how sports go. You know how your dudes do your dude thing. The way that I would put that is my warts have to be better than your warts. If my warts are better than your warts, then I win on the margins. So the games that my dudes are really good, I win. The games that your dudes are really good, you win. And then what the series comes down to is whose warts are going to win over the other team's warts. And if your warts are better than the other team's warts, then that's what leads you to victory. That's what led the Dodgers to victory last night, winning on the margins. I know it sounds boring. We talk about it a lot, but it just absolutely is the case here. Craig, is Glass now next if there's a Game 4? Yes. So Game 3 will be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Game 4, Glass now. Game 5, you would have to assume, would be Shohei Ohtani. Hey, Jay says, Fetty for Rortvet, Serbanowski, and Gervais will pay dividends this year and for many years, no doubt. Another just 4D chess move, right? Chuck Huddleston Dreyer is my unsung hero here. He has held so many leads and bridged the bullpen. Boy, ding, ding. Another example of why Dodgers Dawgs, as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, is the best chat on earth. How about that? Dreyer has been the Band-Aid. He's been the glue. Chuck, that is an elite comment, not a good comment. That is an elite comment. Everybody, give Chuck Huddleston a Dodgers Daily digital high five for that one. Standing ovation, no doubt. Sammy Boy Smith, I rewatched Trinan's outing last night. He didn't throw any bad pitches. Maybe he was bad elsewhere. I don't know. Mainly the Phils just got cheap hits. Yeah, there was some unluckiness to it. And I think you could make that argument. But also I think it was hard to argue. Here's the point. I think if he was like the obvious choice, like he's the only one you have left, fine. But you had two way better choices at that moment. So I'm not going to say you're wrong there, Sammy Boy Smith. My pushback to that would be, why take out Emmett Sheehan? Give me a good argument for that, okay? Why not Roki Sasaki other than the 2 out of 3 days, of which, if you're going to tell me that, then you're going to tell me you're not managing game 2 like you did game 1, and I'm going to disagree with that, because game 2 to me was every big as game 1, because if you went back to L.A. having to win both, otherwise it's coming back to Philly, that's not a great situation. So I would say, if you're going to say don't throw Roki, don't expose him, this or that, I would say to hell with that, win game 2, right? Show urgency in game 2 and take the lead. That would be my pushback to that. So I don't think you're necessarily wrong in terms of maybe Blake trying to getting unlucky. I just would say the Dodgers, the more urgent move would have been to either keep Emmett Sheehan in or bring Roki Sasaki in. Chuck, hey, very true, Casey. We aren't being given, but unlike many MLB teams, the office is giving back to us, getting us talent to win and believe in. I really love the team. This season has been very rewarding. The resilience they've shown has been great. Lifted. Another elite comment. Let me use that word you just used. Resilient. These aren't just the pretty boy Dodgers. Is Mookie Betts a pretty boy? Hell yes, he's a pretty boy. Is Teo Hernandez a pretty boy? Hell yes, he's a pretty boy. Is Andy Pawhead a pretty boy? Hell yes, he's a pretty boy. Okay? Awesome. Okay? It's the old saying, look good, feel good, play good. I've never understood why the term pretty boy had a negative connotation to it, okay? Because the first thing that you want to do, the first thing I did when I got became a head coach, you know what I did? I bought about $3,000 worth of uniforms. You want to know why? Because I wanted my players to look good. I wanted them to feel good. And then the next thing I did was I put a whole bunch of money into the facilities. I made the grass look like Major League grass. We won Field of the Year twice. I can show you pictures of it on a different show. We had it striped out just like Dodger Stadium. I mean, people walked in and it looked like a Major League facility, okay, in terms of the grass, okay? And so whenever my players stepped on it, they felt like they were playing on a field that their coach was taking pride, right? And so I wanted my players to look good. I wanted them to feel good. I wanted them to play on a first-class facility. And therefore, I felt like that would put the play good, that would just all fall in line. So the pretty boy aspect of it, hell yes, I want pretty boys. I want all my players to look good. I want all my players to feel good. And then those players will play good. Now, just because you're a pretty boy doesn't mean you're not tough, okay? Just because you're a pretty boy doesn't mean you're not gritty. Just because you're a pretty boy doesn't mean you're not resilient. You don't think Mookie Betts doesn't have freaking resilience? Think about the year he's had. He lost 15 pounds. He's had dumbasses like me questioning him all year. He hasn't had a good year of offense. And look at the way he's just made himself probably the best shortstop in baseball. You don't think Mookie Betts isn't resilient? You don't think he's not gritty? You don't think he's not tough? Really? I'm not saying nobody here doesn't. Hell yes, he's resilient. Hell yes, Mookie Betts is tough. You don't think Freddie Freeman, who played on all of those injuries last year, we come to find out a broken freaking rib, right? You don't think Freddie Freeman, that son of a bitch isn't tough? You don't think Freddie Freeman's not resilient? You don't think Freddie Freeman's not gritty? Wow. Teo Hernandez, who drives us nuts. He gets huge hits. That's resiliency. You don't think Will Smith isn't resilient as hell? That guy is resiliency personified. Just go back to the Max Muncy beginning of time with the Dodgers, okay? That's all you need to know about how resilient and how gritty and how tough Max Muncy is, okay? So, Lifted, that is an elite comment, something elite to point out. This Dodgers team is super talented, but it is extremely resilient, it's extremely gritty, and it's extremely tough. And I'm being very euphoric here today. I don't have to stop being euphoric because I'm going to take today and enjoy the greatness of what this Dodgers organization is and the fact that this is the organization I'm a fan of. I'm going to enjoy that today. Now, tomorrow I'll get back into the grind, but not today. Today I'm going to take the entire time to sit back and enjoy all of that. Hey, Craig Osterberg, Paez hadn't had a hit in the series. I hope he comes out of his slump. I don't know how many times I've made this statement about Paez that when he goes in slumps, they're like month long. When he gets hot, it's not like, most guys that go in a slump, it's like a week or whatever. It's more like a patch, and it's like up and down. Paez is like extended, okay? So he's the guy that when he's down, it's extended. When he's up, it's extended. We've seen that. So that would worry me. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on it either way. I'll say this. If he does get hot, it's liable to last for the entire rest of the postseason. Let's all hope for that. Bob Student 10, thank you so much for joining. Trinan's location, not a problem. He was fooling the batters. They were seeing and guessing his pitches easily. Sammy Boy Smith, Blake doesn't have a chance then. Okay, Shelly Lawrence, there were so many key plays that led to this victory. We're going to get to one of them here in a minute. We are going to cover an aerial view of the wheel play. I'm going to explain to you how the Dodgers covered it, and I'm going to explain to you how I would have covered it and, the Phillies aspect of it too. Carol S., I believe in our boys, but I'm still annoyed when I heard that the Phillies can still win the series. That is awesome right there, Carol S. What an absolutely awesome comment there. That's an edge. You know what that's called right there, Carol S.? I'm going to read that again. I believe in our boys, but I'm still annoyed. I'll call it pissed. When I hear the Phillies can still win, that's called an edge. You have an edge, Carol S. I want people that have an edge, right? Hey, that's why you want your minor leaguers broke and with about 2 kids, right? Because if they have no money and they have kids, they're pretty damn hungry, right? That's called an edge right there. Hey, Tark the Shark, you are never boring, Casey. Thank you so much. Chuck Ullison had taken aspirin and thinned the blood for tomorrow's game. Exactly, Casey. Way to put the perspective, says Lifted. Racy Auto Parts, hi, Coach. Historic win. Blake Trinan didn't throw bad pitches. He threw repetitive and predictable pitches. That's a good point. Wow. What a chat. I mean, what an elite chat. How about, hey, not bad pitches, just maybe too predictable. And he's not good enough to be predictable. Hey, Racy Auto Parts, see, that's not throwing somebody under the bus. That's not really even criticizing. That's just giving analysis. That is, quite frankly, fairly elite right there, Racy. That's how you do it right there, man. That is absolutely spot on. This chat today is absolutely spot on. Well done. Chuck Ullison, absolutely, Casey. Doc's made a lot of good decisions. I love Dave. He is the whole package. The clubhouse is a huge part of it, and he is the best in the clubhouse. Another elite comment. Okay, let me use the phrase there, the whole package. We tend to, me point blank, just go back to last night, the decisions that he makes that don't work or that we don't like, that in no way, shape, or form can even put a dent into the whole package that Dave Roberts is. Hey, Leon says the Dodgers should blow out the Phillies tomorrow night. Why not? Let's freaking do it, right? Hey, let's all have that edge that Carol S. has, and let's go do it. Chuck Ullison, hit that like button, please. Dodgers Dogs. That helps the channel. Leaving comments after the show helps continue with this great content. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Craig Osterberg, go to your best when your best is needed. I could not disagree. I could not agree with that more. Craig, we spent all last night bitching and moaning about that. No, but I woke up this morning in a hell of a good mood, and I ain't changing my hell of a good mood no matter what goes today. And I don't have to till tomorrow. I can be pissed tomorrow, but today I'm going to be happy. Hey, Lifted said that's a good point, Casey. Definitely think this affects Scott too. Racy Auto Parks, I have tickets for Game 4. Wow. But I don't want to go, as I prefer to see the Dodgers close it out quickly. Yeah, so wants to close it out in Game 3. We go to the bottom here. Daryl Jackson can't give the Phillies any type of momentum in Game 3. That's why I said manage game 2 like manage game 1, manage game 3 like game 1, like it's a game 7. Hey, man, the Phillies are freaking good, okay? 3 games can go like that. I'm telling you. 3 games can go like that with a team as good as the Phillies. You could lose a tough one on Wednesday and then get your ass kicked on Thursday. Tyler Glasnow not have it. And the next thing you know, you've blinked your eye. You don't even feel like you've even hardly even played any games. And the damn thing's already tied up again. That can happen. Daryl, you are exactly correct. The Dodgers cannot let down. They have to continue to play with the urgency like this is game 7. Finish the series on Wednesday. Because if the Phillies get momentum, they're good enough to start a snowball headed downhill that not even the Dodgers can stop. Do not allow them any kind of momentum. Great point, Daryl Jackson. Also, Daryl says the team also came through in the clutch on defense in the 9th inning. Otherwise, it would have ended very badly. Yes, and we're going to go through the wheel play here in a minute. Winning on the margins. How about, the 2 singles, the double by Freddie Freeman and the walk by Max Muncy? You won with winning baseball plays on offense. You won with winning baseball plays on defense. And then also your pitchers threw strikes. Emmett Sheehan got guys out in the zone. And then Blake Snell did a great job of executing the game plan last night. Oh, Donnie boy, that resilience comes from being battle-tested. Another incredibly great point. This is why Coach Barikoff, hey, oh, Donnie boy, another Dodgers Daily Digital standing ovation. What an incredible chat this is. The resilience comes from being battle-tested. The Dodgers not only have taken everybody's best shot this year, but they've taken everybody's best shot in the playoffs for like 10 years in a row now. They know what that looks like. That's why Coach Barikoff kept saying, bet on the Dodgers when the playoffs start, because they know how to play in the playoffs. That is exactly what O'Donnell Boy is saying right now, and that is exactly correct, because as O'Donnell Boy says, there's no substitute for real bumps and bruises. You can't make those up, no doubt about that. Larry Scott says, I'm sick of getting in here late. Hey, well, you can go back and watch the archive. Thank you so much for joining, Larry. What a luxury it is to have Yoshi pitching in game 3. Hey, Cubs need to get a win here just to burn some pitching for Milwaukee. That is exactly right. Al Minerva, trying his 2-seam ain't what it has been. Not saying he's done. He's just having a challenging time. And I think next year is the time to figure that out, not this year. That would be my take on that. Dave S., you win every single game that you have a chance to do so. Put in your closer every single chance you can. That overuse reasoning by Dave was weak. Yes, I agree with that. We have gone over that over and over and over about how definitely that was a decision that we disagree with. Having said that, it is a new day, and there have been a lot of actually, let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and click this over. Let me get the window capture proper on here so I can get the right video up, and we can actually get on here right there. Okay, so let me cut this over. And thank you to Jay for this video. This was, he sent this to me last night. So this is the wheel play right here that the Dodgers ran. So the first thing that I want you to notice right here is the positioning of Max Muncy. Okay, I didn't notice this in live time. You can ask Jay. The first thing I told him was I thought the Dodgers ran this wrong because the third baseman should be the one setting the timing here. Well, what I did not put into the equation was that Alex Vesia is left-handed. So the way this would work with a right-hander would be looking at Max Muncy. Max Muncy would be looking at Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts would start the whole timing play of it. So as soon as Mookie Betts starts for third base, that's when Max Muncy crashes. And when Max Muncy crashes, as the pitcher looks at Max Muncy, as soon as Max Muncy crashes, the pitcher then delivers the ball to home plate. That's what would happen if you had a right-hander. So the shortstop starts the timing, third baseman, as soon as the shortstop starts, third baseman crashes. As soon as the third baseman crashes, the pitcher then throws the ball to home plate. That's the timing of it. But you have a left-hander, okay, which throws a wrinkle into it because a left-hander can't see when the third baseman is crashing, right? So at that point, the Dodgers actually had to adjust the way that they ran that, And instead of the pitcher reacting to the third baseman and the first baseman then had to react to the pitcher, right? Okay, and so the first thing that Vesia has to do is make sure that Mookie Betts is cleared. Now, the one thing that I would change the way the Dodgers ran this, of course, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other. I would have Mookie Betts go in front of Castellanos, and as Mookie, because Mookie would then circle to second base, right, which is going to hold Castellanos close, okay, because he's holding them on, and then once he got to the bag and Vesia gave Mookie a look to look Castellanos back, then Mookie takes off to third, and as Vesia sees that, as soon as Mookie is directly in front of Castellanos, meaning he is shielding Castellanos' view from Vesia, that's when the third baseman crashes, and then that's whenever the pitcher delivers it home, because the runner at that point is worried about the back pick because Mookie Betts just covered second. Then he can't see when the ball is delivered to home plate because he is shielded. That's how I would run it, but the Dodgers decided to run it with the shortstop behind the runner, and that works too because the runner doesn't necessarily see the shortstop do it. But here's the deal. I mean, here's just really kind of how clueless Philadelphia was on running this play. Once you see Max Muncy in this positioning right here, guess who Max Muncy is looking at right now? He is looking at this runner because if Max Muncy crashes too soon, guess what Castellanos can do? He can steal third base, right? That's why the third baseman has to have his timing off of the shortstop, okay? And so instead of the third base crashing off the shortstop, instead the pitcher is delivering at home off the shortstop, and then the third baseman crashes on the pitch. So you have to do that a little bit ass backwards with the lefty. So let's watch it in real time. What you're going to see is you're going to see Mookie Betts take off. You're going to see Vesia deliver the ball to home. You're going to see Max Muncy and Freddie Freeman both exactly at the time that Alex Vesia delivers the ball, break for home. Watch this right here. See that? Okay. That is absolutely great timing. Now, another part of this that I would suggest, and I know it would have put the winning run on base, I would suggest that you walk the guy at the home plate to set up first and second. Look at the guy on deck. The next guy is a right-hander. Okay, so first of all, that would set up a double play. But more so than anything, if you have a guy at first and second, instead of having to make a tag there, it's actually a force play. Okay, so what Philadelphia did not recognize here, as soon as you see Max Muncy in this position where he is so what he's doing is giving himself a two-way go. He's eyeing the runner, and he can also come in and field a bunt. So he's giving him this two-way go. This should have been a dead giveaway to the Phillies that the Dodgers are running the wheel play, because this tells the offense that this third baseman is crashing. And this third baseman is not going to crash unless he's running the wheel play. So as soon as you see that he's running the wheel play, whenever you do your bunt drills, there's 3 spots that you bunt to while you're practicing bunting. You practice bunting down the third base line to about right here. You practice bunting down the first base line, which will be about right here. And then the third one that a lot of people don't work on that they need to, and this is the perfect case scenario why you need to work on this third station of bunting, you need to work on deadening the ball right here. So once you saw this was a wheel play, the only way this was going to be successful for the Phillies was if the pitcher or the catcher fielded this bunt. If Freeman or Max Muncy, the first baseman or third baseman, fielded this is whenever we would call the wheel play, it's an automatic 3. There is no yelling 3-3-3. It's automatic. We're crashing. We're throwing the ball to third. If we don't get the out, fine. But we are throwing the ball to third base if the first baseman or third baseman crashes. The only way that we're throwing the ball to first base is if the catcher or the pitcher fields this ball. So once that Max Muncy assumed this position, the hitter right here should have recognized Max Muncy, realized it was the wheel play. Now the only place to bunt this ball for him is right here. And let's watch. He intentionally bunts at the third base. That's just having no clue as far as the situation around you, how to execute the play, and what type of bunt actually would have executed this. Now, I would prefer my second baseman to cover second because then you could back pick. But the Dodgers chose to take Tommy Edman to first. And so right now you want Alex Vesia to be aggressive towards fielding this bunt. He's coming forward. So here's the deal. If the bunt would have been to first base, Max Muncy would have had to cover second. If the bunt would have went to third base like it did, then Freddie Freeman has to cover second base. So whichever corner infielder does not field the bunt, that's who covers second. Watch Freddie Freeman. See him go right there? Now he has to go to second base because if he didn't, then this runner could have advanced up. Another way that you could run that is your center fielder also could have covered second base as well. But who better than your first baseman to cover the next advanced base? So that is the X and O's of the wheel play. The Phillies did not recognize, as they should have, that Max Muncy was in a posture that gave away the fact that the Dodgers were running the wheel play. Once you run that, then you have to deaden the ball right in here. You have to make the pitcher or catcher fielded. The Dodgers did a good job with a lefty. Now, what I want you to watch here is watch all of the timing. Okay, see, so as soon as Alex Vesia delivers the ball to home plate, okay, so he's going to give a look to second base. He's looking at second base right there. As soon as he looks away right there, Mookie Betts starts to third. See that? See the shuffles towards third base? Alex Vesia is looking at second. Now, you see right there, Alex Vesia looked home right there. As soon as he looked home, look at Mookie Betts. He's working towards third base to get ahead of the runner. So as soon as Vesia looked back towards home plate, Mookie Betts started cheating towards third, and then as soon as he started his delivery, gone right now. All the infielders are gone as soon as he delivered to home plate. Good throw, good execution. Fantastic X and O's by the Dodgers. Terrible X and O's by the Phillies by not recognizing it. And because of that, just another situation to where the Dodgers won on the margins. So that's the breakdown of the X and O's of the wheel play. Those are some adjustments you could have made. It's an easier play for the defense if your pitcher is right-handed, because then you can time it with your third baseman who times it off the shortstop, which gives the shortstop an easier head start to third. But the Dodgers did a great job pivoting with the lefty, executed it perfectly. The Phillies had no freaking clue what they were doing. So why did the Dodgers run the wheel play? Because, I learned this from Lou Brock. Not me personally, but my best friend Eddie Daves, my best friend in the world, he played with Lou Brock in the 70s, okay, while Eddie was in the Cardinal system. Lou Brock taught him whenever Eddie became a manager, and the one thing that Lou Brock and the Cardinal system of the 70s and 80s taught him is that you play for the tie at home because you have last at bats. You have the advantage as last at bats, so you play for the tie at home. So by the Phillies bunting, they were trying to get the tying run to third base. They were trying to tie the game as the home team. From a strategical perspective, that is 1,000% the correct play. So bunting in that situation is 1,000% the correct play, except for it's obvious that the Phillies had not repped all the different situations of bunting against a wheel play, okay? And as soon as the Max Muncy got in that position, if you hadn't repped it and you're the manager of the Phillies, you need to call time and you need to tell your hitter, hey, if he's positioned like that, they're running the wheel play. And if they're running the wheel play, then bunt the ball, deaden it out in front of you. And if you don't feel comfortable about that, then let me know right now and I can take the bunt off. That's what should have happened for the Phillies. So anybody saying they shouldn't have bunted in the first place from a strategical perspective is not correct. The bunt was the correct play. The problem with it was they didn't understand what the Dodgers were doing when they should have. They didn't know they didn't understand how to combat what the Dodgers were doing by bunting the ball to the proper position on the field. They didn't know how to identify it, first of all. And if you don't know how to identify it and you don't know the adjustments to make based on the positioning of the defense, then you can't run the play, okay? As soon as Max Muncy takes the wheel play position, if you don't know how to adjust, if you don't know what that means, if you don't know what you're looking at, right then and there you have to take the bunt off. The Phillies did not, and they paid for it, and the Dodgers won. And it's that kind of stuff that gets you beat in games like last night. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that wasn't too boring in terms of my coverage of the wheel play there. Larry Scott as the runner at second base. You could never get beat by the shortstop to third. Understand the complete situation. he doesn't really have a choice because you have a back pick situation, and the runner at second can't take a secondary lead until the pitcher starts going home. So that's good timing by the Dodgers there. There's really nothing else Castellano. So here's the problem with that, Larry Scott. Here's what I want you to see. So typically speaking, a secondary lead, so you get your primary lead, and then whenever the pitcher delivers at home, you take a secondary lead. Typically speaking, a secondary lead is 3 hops towards the next base. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. See that? See those 3 hops? But while you're hopping as a base runner, let me back that up. No, you're not seeing this. Okay, hold on. Let me back this up. Okay, so a secondary lead is 3 hops. Let me show you this. Let me back you this up and show you this. Here's your primary lead. Okay, so now as Vesia starts delivering towards home plate, the runner at second takes a secondary lead. A secondary lead is 3 hops towards the next base. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. See that? But the problem is, while you're taking 3 hops towards the next base, Mookie Betts is at a dead sprint. And a dead sprint is going to outrun 3 hops at any particular point and time. This is also why I would rather have my second baseman cover second, exactly what Larry's saying, because if my second baseman covers second, then my runner here can't do anything other than take his secondary lead. But the way the Dodgers defense that, if Castellanos right here tried to outrun Mookie Betts right here, in other words, Mookie Betts has already taken off. If Castellanos takes off right here, Max Muncy just stops and goes back to third base, and Castellanos is thrown out by a mile. So really, the Phillies just didn't understand what was going on. The Dodgers did. The Dodgers executed it perfectly, and that's why they won the game. Racy said Yamamoto has been getting good run support lately, and I think the Dodgers can ding Nola in the first inning. Let's go. Pressure is real, says Al Minerva. Thank you so much for joining. I witnessed poor base running throws, past the fly balls, and bad pitching all postseason from all. Hey, I play an expert on the interweb. Thank you so much for joining. Nobody talking about the Ohtani non-swing. That was called a swing, and the Phillies swing. Hey, I did. If you go to my social media, I said strictly that was strike 4 that Emmett Sheehan threw to, who was that? Was that Schwarber? Michael, thank you so much for joining. People want to blame Robert's decision to put Blake in. Need to give him credit for leaving Snell in for 6 and also leaving. It would have been easy to go out there and take Emmett Sheehan out earlier than he did, too. That's my point, Michael. And that's the point that Chuck made a minute ago. We get pissed about some of the things he does. I know Chuck and I do all the time. I mean, I did it last night, right? And I hate to be using Chuck's name too much, but I have so much respect for his knowledge of the game that's why I use that's a sign of respect, Chuck, hope you're not getting frustrated with that. But then the backup to that is immediately, but the overall awesomeness that he brings, the total package, far outweighs any decisions that he might make that don't work in terms of some of the things that he does. So, yes, that was quite a play. This has been quite a show. And so, man, you guys are the absolute best crowd out there. I cannot thank you enough for all the great support. Austin and I think, might be going on tonight, too, for a big, long show to get Austin's thoughts on the roster, maybe possible roster construction in the future, more of a breakdown on Aaron Nola, some of the keys to tomorrow night's game, all that stuff. So be looking for another live show, doubleheader day, here at Dodgers Daily with Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. So doubleheader day after, and it's a day game after night game after last night's post-game show. Yesterday was a doubleheader day too, and we are having a hell of a lot of fun. So thank you to all you Dodgers Dogs out there. You are the absolute best. And as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.